Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. I'm gonna do the market close update where I usually look into liquidation levels, order book, 4-hour and daily timeframes, trying to do a wrap up of what has happened in the past few hours. Let's start with the look of the S&P on a closing basis. Let's see that this is so far for the day looking extremely in the green. So I'm interested to see how this is influencing on the 4-hour timeframes and the daily. At the moment, we can see that the 4-hour has done a breakout that was confirmed at 2 p.m. at UK time. Since then, we have seen a little bit of a retracement, which we could qualify as a healthy retest at the moment. You can see in here that is the area of the RSI 55, 56 that we broke out into 58, coming back down, just putting a lower low so far. So that is still in the healthy kind of range. And the price action is being held by this 110, which we could say is a psychological level. It's also the fair value gap that attracted into that 110 with liquidation levels at that point. Every time we get into 110, I've seen how this 0.5 of ask ratio against the bid is what holds the price at that level. It's not a lot of ask ratio. So far, when we put a top, we usually get way higher. So something is kind of holding the price, not necessarily with a lot of liquidity, but still managing to keep it right there. When it comes to the delta of liquidation, it has become a lot more flat, getting into the minus 58K. Let's remember that just a few days we were in the green with 1.3 million. That completely went back into the red, into the minus 400, and now going back into the equilibrium. Thanks to the breakout on the 4-hour, I'm going to have to change the background color of this into gray because we have a breakout and we are waiting for a retest. So that changes things. Of course, if we succeed with that retest, we can change this back into green. This is extremely important that we manage to hold this as new support. Let's remember that if we look at the daily, the context at the moment is pending from a thread there. So the 4-hour breakout on the 4-hour on that lower time frame comes really handy to have a narrative from a lower time frame to say, well, we might as well do the thing of holding support on the daily here and go into that resistance, which at the point I'm recording that is looking at 116K. It is a moving target and is just a result of this breakdown on the daily to go back and give just a kiss of death to that 75 that now turns into the lost support is a new resistance. If we do enter banana zone from there, and we go beyond the 75, we have a final point here at 86, 85, which is the top of this descending resistance that we have been respecting the whole cycle, the whole bull rally since 2022. So it's extremely relevant. If we compare the previous channel up that we have in 2024, exiting from the megaphone pattern, we defended this channel going into the upside, and we have a final breakout in here into that area. At that point, it was 86. Nowadays, it's something more like 85. But we could kind of repeat that. The only thing that we have against us is that we have done this breakdown, and that kind of leans more towards just getting into 75 in terms of probabilities, not in terms of certainties, because you are in the trading space, there are no certainties. If we go into 75, the most likely scenario is a rejection from there and the beginning of a channel down. During that channel down, that 75 can be 116, and possibly, depending on how low we go after that, then if we can go back up and get into a 73, the price can climb into 125K, and that is what we call the context of the descending channel or the beginning of the bearish divergence season within this small context of the daily time frame. It's always important to remember what is the opposite case, right? The 4-hour doesn't necessarily need to hold this 55 as a new support and start climbing to the upside. We've seen so many times a 4-hour faking out. So understanding what is the risk is key. So if you are trading this setup, you know how to protect yourself. For example, the 55 could fail. We still have 45 minutes. There's very little time to fail, but let's say we fail and we close below this level. For that, we need to really sell off and put a lower low relative to 51, possibly going into this fair value gap of 108 to make it a little bit more looking like a double top. The double top in that case will have kind of a neckline around 107. Of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is just a potential bad scenario playing out. I will say we have a good chance at the moment to close above 55. After that, of course, we need to put a higher high to maintain momentum. We can even draw initially a line in here that could defend that potential rally, which is by connecting the bottom of the RSI 4-hour with this new pivot and potentially this new pivot, crossing fingers, of course. I want to look into the SOPR chart because some new things that I have noticed, particularly in the version of BTC. Remember that you can access these indicators directly from my Patreon website. The link is in the description. You can access them as Pine scripts or as Telegram charts or both. You can get them subscribed for 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. Or if you use a bluffing account, now today I have a new campaign which is called Race to VIP 4. Deposit and trade, win up to 10,000 in rewards. This one ends on the 10th of June. And depending on the deposit and trading volume, you're gonna get different rewards in USDT. Not just that, but also you can use this non-KYC exchange. Just make sure that you're using the link in the description to get the 3 months both on Telegram charts and Pine scripts for free. All you have to do is scan this QR code and connect your bluffing account with my Telegram channel to validate that you meet the requirements down below to get access to the indicators for free. Maintain that level and you can get the indicators forever for free. The SOPR measures where people are taking profits. If it's in the low end, people are closing positions in a loss. If they're closing it at the top end, they're closing their positions in profit. And something that is completely secret, no one knows it yet, is that we are at the top level of the band at 104 and we haven't yet print a sell signal. But all we need to do is for this blue line to come back down, and the day after we will get a notification of a sell signal. The performance, although the past one was terrible with these two signals, throughout the bull market it has been really good. And considering that I'm qualifying the sell signals and not the buy signals are definitely the best in the class. For entries, you enter at the bottom of the bear market at 20K, at 24K. In this area, there is an average of around 39, and then you rally all the way to here. You have buy the dips signals on May at 55 and then at 51. I mean, what else can you ask from a signal like this? Then we got another signal around the 82. And the sell signals have been very good. There has been this one in here in October 2023, which I'm not really proud of, but I'm not going to change the code because the good ones are really compensating for that one. And also these two ones at 95K, which I'm not going to change the indicator because these are very special conditions. And I will say there is a ton of manipulation and new market behavior in here that is kind of spoiling the performance in here. Indeed, there was a huge amount of profit taken in here, but it didn't really stop the price going up. So now if we get the signal at 110, that will meet with this descending trend line. The first time that there was huge profits was in this area where we meet with 73.5. And the second and third time was around this area where we put the new all-time highs over 100K. So now this time the descending trend line is meeting with 104. And if we get that signal, we are going to get it around 110. Not saying that is the top, but it's definitely something I'm going to keep my eye on in the next few days. And speaking of SOPR, I also have this other way of visualizing it on CryptoQuant, and it's been pinching this area in here that has been also descending throughout the rally, taking profits. At the moment is at 102, which is also an area of interest. Are they going to continue to take profits around that area? Is that going to stop the price like it did and went sideways in here and in there, or is the bullish absorption of those profit takers going to allow for the SOPR to go really into the red area? Going into the red area is pretty much being in banana zone once again. Alright, let's leave aside the SOPR for now and let's focus on liquidation levels and the order book. Where are the orders and all of that for anybody that is interested in doing swing trades? Whether you are in a position, you're looking for an entry, looking for an exit, this should help you. 113 is the area this morning that we were talking about, that there is good incentive to go into that area. Unfortunately, this area of 110 is becoming a pain in the A at the moment for the price not being able to cross beyond that level. We've seen that the ask ratio increases every time we get close to 110, and it goes into bid ratio when we go closer to 107. So price is trapped into the squeeze, and each side is becoming heavier. So now it becomes a matter of market sentiment to make the decision. Notice as well how close we are to taking all of that. And I think there is a little bit of price suppression in here, because all it takes is for the price to go into 113, and that doesn't end there, because if we go into 113, we start a potential short squeeze that can take the price straight into over 115. So I understand they want to hold the price from triggering that short squeeze. The question is why and for how long, and what are they trying to achieve with that delay? Are they trying to trap further shorts to make the price even larger? I suspect it's something like that, just because the amount of liquidity that there is over 113 has been there and is pretty intense. On the liquidation heat map, we can also visualize that liquidity is absolutely evident and probably is public knowledge that we could hit that, and that means that swing traders and everybody is probably thinking, I might take a quick long in here, take that liquidity and see how it goes after. On the liquidation map, we can see a level of liquidation at 111, pretty substantial and very close to the price. Below the price, there is a ton of level around 105. And you can see the battle of the squeeze right here on Market Monkey Terminal. At 110, we have that sell wall right there moving all the time. And below in here, we also have support, and that's pretty much keeping the price without moving. The CBD has been decreasing, which means that the aggressive buyers are kind of slowing down with the momentum. CBD is measuring literally, if it goes up, it measures how many aggressive buyers are entering into the market using market orders to enter, to chase the price. And this has been increasing up until here. Since then, it put this low and then a lower high and then a lower low. So CBD is diverting from this price. That means that we have less aggressive buyers and a little bit more of aggressive shorters. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going down. It's all a matter of balancing things out. If those shorts enter in here and make too attractive the cloud on the top of the price will go and take that cloud first before deciding direction. We can see that orders in the order book are at 115, quite heavy with 500, and then we have at 120 with 886, which is pretty substantial as well. And looking at FAR charts, that looks pretty similar tonight. Something I really wanted to show you. Remember that trading light was off for all this period in here of 22 days, and the longs versus shorts, don't take it too serious because the system was off and we really don't know if this is working properly. But if it is in an area of value. We left this support since December and we've been respecting it. Every time we get very close to the support is an area where we see a recovery, and since we've been at the 22,000s, we went very high in here and now we came back to the support. If we were able really to see what's going on in here and confirm it's working, this should be an area of massive value given that there is so little longs. Eventually this could break out and give a more conservative entry to the upside. In terms of fair value gaps, we didn't form a single one today. In the past few days we took them all, so literally the only fair value gaps that we currently have are below the price. So price really needs to decide whether we're going to take one more from this area before shooting back up, or if we're gonna go in an impulsive move to the upside, which is going to contribute to produce new fair value gaps additional to what we already have, which is pretty substantial. This price is definitely not in perfect balance. It's full of imbalances everywhere, not just from fair value gaps, but also from CME gaps. Notice that even though we can do a rally into this resistance of 76 on the daily, I am not gonna upgrade the daily because that has the highest likelihood of being that point where we see rejection. If we enter banana zone, I'm gonna be forcing my hand to put it back into green. The 4 hour, as I say, if we confirm the retest and we put a higher high, it's gonna also go back into green. A failure of the 4 hour probably is gonna force me to put these two into red by tomorrow. Remember that I do updates in the evening and in the morning, looking at the detail of the recent price action. During the day, I tend to put a more in-depth video with more analysis, looking into more indicators. Thanks so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.